Hello, everyone. We're here today on a sunny day after a lot of rain to bring you information that's very timely about solar. In December, the California Public Utilities Commission made decisions that are going to have very serious implications for people who have not yet adopted solar and will make some changes for any future users. So we wanted to bring you this timely information in this brief video. I'm Arlene Baxter with Red Oak Realty. I'm a member and a longtime member of the Bridge Association of Realtors Climate Action Committee, and I'm here with another Climate Action Committee member. Derrick, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, Arlene. I'm Derrick. I'm part of a solar company called Solar Energy Systems of California, and I'm a big environmentalist. I've championed and advocated for the environment up in Sacramento and the East Bay and even in San Francisco. So I think solar is a great way to do the world good and save a lot of money too.
So we're going to be talking today about how people who have not yet had a rooftop system installed on their home still have time, not a lot of time, but a little bit to take advantage of existing regulations and rules and what that means. So I'm going to let Derrick talk about especially something called net energy metering, what that means, and what rebates and systems are available that might inspire those of you who've been thinking about doing solar but have not yet taken the plunge.
Yes, Arlene, there was two big changes during the second half of last year that can impact homeowners' opportunity to save money from PG&E and benefit the environment also. I'm going to talk about those two of those changes and the impact on future home resale value and some critical action steps that a lot of people are trying to take really quickly before it's too late. The first thing is in August of 2022, Congress passed the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, which encourages citizens to increase the adoption of clean energy, green energy, solar systems, battery storage, heat pumps, electric hot water heaters, and more. So the federal tax credit had been 26% and was scheduled to go down to, I think, 22% at the beginning of 2023, this year. But instead, with that new law that went into effect in August, it increased. It went up to 30%. So right now, anybody who switches to solar, if you purchase a solar system, you're going to get 30%, you're eligible for 30% of that back to you from the federal government. So here's a quick example here. If that solar system costs you $15,000 and your solar tax credit was 30%, that's $4,500 back to you. And so the net cost or actual cost back to you is only $10,500 for a solar system that's easily going to last you 25 or 30 years and help you save a lot of money from PG&E and benefit the environment also by using clean energy. There's two links here to web links that show the details of what I'm talking about. So I like providing that. So if anybody has any questions, they can look that up. But also beyond the number one Inflation Reduction Act, there's also a second big thing, as you mentioned, Arlene, and that's the PUC here in California voting to change the net energy metering program from 2.0 to something different as of April 14th, 2023. That 2.0 program, NEM 2.0, will go away. And there'll be a new program that people will nickname NEM 3.0, but the official name of it is the Net Billing Tariff, or NBT. For people who are already on Net Energy Metering 2.0, NEM 2.0, you're grandfathered for 20 years from the time that your solar system went into production or was actually acknowledged by PG&E. They call that the permission to operate. So whether you're on Net Energy Metering 1.0 or Net Energy Metering 2.0, you're good for 20 years from the time that was acknowledged by PG&E. Now, the reason why NEM 2.0 is important is because that impacts how much you end up having to pay to PG&E or save from PG&E with a solar system. Let me just go back a slide and show you a recent updated rate schedule that came out just in December 1st of 2022. That's got the updated tariffs. There are still a few people that are on the tiered rate plan, and you can see the high usage category is now 49 cents. It's kind of blurry here, I apologize. but PG&E is trying to move everybody to a time of use rate plan. So if you're on the 4 to 9 program every day, your peak price per kilowatt hour is 49 cents. If you're on the time of use program for 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. weekdays, it looks like it's 47 cents per kilowatt hour. Either way, it's an increase from what it was earlier last year. And that's keeping in mind that last year, the PG&E rates went up twice already in January, about 8%. And I think again in March, about 8.9%, which is really significant. And here again is a link. So if anybody wants to look this up, you can find it on the web. But I just want to share that with you real quick, Arlene, and point out that again,
you had also mentioned, Derrick, that not so long ago, these rates were down as low as 11 cents per kilowatt
it seems
hour.
like this,
So, and that's not that long ago.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just crazy how quickly the rates have risen, and it keeps going up every year. I can't remember a year for the last 7 or 8 years that it didn't go up some significant amount of money.
And we know that PG&E, frankly, is not in the best financial condition. So there's no reason to assume that they're going to be lowering rates or not increasing rates continuing
That's
into
right.
the future.
I've never seen them lower the rates. Have you?
No, sadly, no.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
that's a right there is a big incentive why people would want to take advantage of solar. But now specifically, let's talk about the differences between this current program and what will be
yeah,
happening after April 14th.
absolutely, for sure. Let me just point out what NEM or net energy metering is. And that's an accounting system by PG&E or the electric utility companies where they acknowledge or give you credit for the excess electricity that a solar owner makes during the daytime that they can't use. That extra electricity has to go someplace, and it usually goes back into the grid, back to the PG&E, and of course they turn around and sell it to somebody else that needs it. There are a lot of cases where you're making so much electricity during the daytime that you can't use all of that electricity. And that credit offsets that cost because at nighttime, when there is no sun, you've got to get electricity from someplace, and that comes back from PG&E. So it's almost like you have your own account with PG&E where you make extra electricity during the daytime. You can't use it, and so you get it back at nighttime. And over the course of 25 years or more, that's going to lead homeowners to save 50, 75, I've seen it be even more than $100,000 over the lifetime of that solar system. So that's what net energy metering does. And the crazy thing is, with this vote in December, PG&E and the Public Utility Commission is doing away with net energy metering 2.0 as of April 14th, a Friday, for people who switch to solar after that date. If you already have solar before that date, then you're protected, you're grandfathered in for 20 years from the time that you started the interconnection with PG&E. But for people who switch to solar after April 14th, it's going to be a different program. And the significance of that is that 75% of what you normally would save with a solar system, you're going to lose out on, which is just crazy. So here's a quick example of that. Here's one of my customers who switched to solar towards the end of 2021. And in each month on your PG&E bill, when you have solar, you get this statement here that shows how much for each month, how much electricity you generated. If you had a net usage of an excess of more electricity than you use, you'll see a negative amount right here. So the net usage for this young lady for, let's say, July was 205 kilowatt hours of electricity that she generated from her solar system and she couldn't use. And you could see at the end of that month, PG&E said, okay, we owe you $32 for that amount of electricity that you didn't use, and went back into the grid, and we used it and sold it to somebody else. And you can see over the course of 12 months, she generated about $250 worth of extra electricity from her solar system that she couldn't use. So it's great that she gets this credit, but with this change in the NEM 2.0, she's going to lose out on 75% of that. So instead of getting $250 worth of value, she's only going to get maybe $30, $40 worth of value, which is just significant. It's sad, so to speak. So that's why so many people are saying, okay, I want to not only take advantage of NEM 2.0, but keep it. So they're grandfathered in when this change takes place April 14th. But there are a lot of people who've been kind of sitting on the fence thinking, okay, one day I need to go solar. And so I'm hearing, my phone is ringing. I'm getting a lot of emails saying, we talked about it 6 months ago. We talked about it last year. I've heard about this NIM 2.0 going away and what I'm going to lose in benefits. And so now's the time that I want to do it.
Right.
So that's a quick example of how net energy metering benefits somebody and what's going to be lost for people who haven't gone to solar by the time April 14th rolls around. So we talked about for every $100 that you would have got in a credit, you're only going to get $25. It reduces the excess electricity value that you make during the daytime, and you're not going to get that back at nighttime, as I just showed you in the previous example. Let me stop here and see what other questions that you might have. I want to make sure I'm addressing everything that you want
So
to address.
the other question is, I've heard that there are, in addition, some fees that people under the new NEM or NBT would be charged.
Yeah, that's true. So right now under NIM 2.0, just for having the wires from PG&E connected to your house, you got to pay $11 or $12. Even if you had 1 million solar panels on your house, you still they're going to get a little blood out of you some kind of way. But with the new rate plan that's going to go into effect after April 14th, the net billing tariff, there'll be an extra $15 to $20 that you'll have to pay every month on top of that $11 or $12 that NIM 2.0 people have to pay. So that's another increase per month just for not being able to take advantage of NIM 2.0.
So that's a significant incentive to be calling you now over the next month or two at the most to try to get onto NEM 2.0 if you possibly can.
Yeah.
Now there are people who will say, yes, I'm ready. So Derrick, share with us, what is it going to take for people to get onto the system quickly enough?
Sure. So before April 14th, a homeowner can connect with a solar company and come to an agreement, identify how many solar panels will be used, and the solar company will provide documentation to PG&E along with the interconnection application, which will need some information from the homeowner. We'll supply that to PG&E, and they have to acknowledge that before April 14th. So sometimes PG&E kind of slows how quickly they work. So for that reason, I'd say a true cutoff period of time for us to do that is probably around the 1st of March, maybe the end of February. So there's not a whole lot of time left to quickly take action so that someone who wants to get on the NIM 2.0 program can do that before NIM 3.0 or the net billing tariff program goes into effect.
Right.
And let me also just say, Arlene, that this change also affects the break-even time period, or the payback period of time for someone switching to solar. Let me show you a quick example of what I mean by that. I'm going to share my screen with you again, and hopefully that comes up okay. Can you see my screen, Arlene?
There, it's perfect.
All right, fantastic. So you can see here's a kind of a theoretical analysis under NIM 2.0, based on the number of panels that you got and how much energy you were using. A homeowner might save or break even or hit that payback period of time in just under 5 years. And the lifetime savings would be over $100,000. Under NIM 3.0 or the net billing tariff program, once NIM 2.0 goes away, April 14th, that payback period of time is going to be extended because you're losing out again on 75% of the benefits that NIM 2.0 solar owners are benefiting from. And so you can see it does also decrease the lifetime amount of savings. So someone might easily say, well, man, should I not go solar as a result? And I have to say that even though you're losing out on 75% of the financial benefits by switching to solar after April 14th, it's still better than sticking with PG&E only and just being at their mercy for the annual rate increases that they've had for the last 10, 12, 15 years.
Exactly.
So
And it's sort of the glass half empty, half full. You're losing 75%, but you're still getting 25%.
Right. Saving a little bit of money is better than saving no money at all. And it's benefiting the environment as well. And you're generating your own clean energy.
That's it. There is sort of energy independence. And from a realtor's perspective, there's an additional advantage. NEM 2.0, you are able to The program runs with the land, as we call it. It stays with the home. So my home, I put solar on a couple of years ago. I have 18 years left. If I sold my home in a year or so, the new homeowner would get the additional 17 years. Unfortunately, with NEM3 or the NBT, that's not the case. It doesn't run for 20 years. It runs, I think you said, for 9. And if
Yeah,
you sell, it starts all over again. So another incentive to act quickly if people possibly can.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, here's that part highlighted right here where it points out that this NIM 2.0 is transferable for 20 years from after you're acknowledged with by PG&E. So you're
Right,
absolutely right.
right.
Let me also share one other thing with you, and that is action steps that people can take right now. One, you can switch to solar before April 14th. And again, we talked about the process for doing that with a specific application to PG&E and getting it acknowledged before April 14th. But the other thing that somebody can do is add a solar battery, also called energy storage systems, where you can store the excess electricity that you make during the daytime. And instead of giving it back to PG&E for a reduced value, you could just use it yourself at nighttime. So that's a way to save a significant amount of money also by getting your own solar battery where you keep and store your own extra excess electricity. Now, there is a state rebate for that called the Self-Generation Incentive Program, or SGIP. There's a handbook. Here's a copy of the one from the updated version from October of last year. But let me just point out that there's a process for that rebate. Here's one of the grids that shows a homeowner, a small residential storage system. They have different steps. And throughout the year, the amount of money available for the rebate, it's kind of like in a bucket, changes throughout the year. And so they would look at, sorry for changing slides there, they look at what step that they're on at the time that you apply, and they'll look at the value of each watt hour or kilowatt hour, and that could easily add up to about $800 to $1,000 or maybe a little bit more, again, based on the size of the battery that you get. So those are two action steps that people are taking to benefit from NIM 2.0 right now, and even something that you can do after NIM 2.0 goes away as far as getting that battery so that you store your own electricity and use it for yourself at nighttime.
So I have rooftop solar, but I don't have battery yet. This is something that I could do, and it would not change the status of my NIM 2.0. Is there a time when that bucket of money that you mentioned is going to be sort of refilled? Is there an optimal time for people who might be interested in adding battery to apply for that?
Yeah, so there's a somewhat complicated process for how that bucket, the amount of money in that rebate bucket varies throughout the year. So based on that step that I just showed you, I think now is a good time to apply for that.
Okay. All right. There's a lot more that Derrick and I could talk about, especially about batteries, the technology of them, the efficiency of them. But this is probably a good place to end for today. We hope that we've shared good and timely information about these changes. So yes, Eric, what else do you want to share with people?
Yeah, just one last thing, and that is all of this NIM2 solar stuff kind of really affects the value of a home, especially if somebody's considering selling their home a year, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, or even renting it out. Let me just show one last slide here, and that is the results from a Berkeley lab study that shows that an average house with solar ends up being worth about 4%, 5%, or 6% more than a house just like it without a solar system. And also, there's been a number of reports from Zillow, the real estate website, and other folks that have said that, again, an average house with solar system on compared to a similar house without solar is going to be valued a little bit higher and probably sell a little bit faster. It's theorized that a savvy home buyer will realize that this house with a solar system on it, I won't have to pay PG&E these crazy annual rate increases or these crazy high amounts each month if I have a house that's got solar on it already. And so they're more likely to buy that house with solar on it versus a house without solar on it. Now, there's always exceptions. But just in general, this is what a number of studies are showing. Uh, what have you heard, Arlene? Anything to this
Well,
effect also?
absolutely. And from my own clients, certainly, who a lot of Berkeley, Oakland buyers who recognize that they want to have some energy independence. They would like not to be subject to ever increasing rates from PG&E. And they would also like to do something that benefits the environment. So solar does all of those things. Um, and it's a feel good process, especially we've recently had a lot of rains, especially those of us who are now maybe a little more motivated with some power outages to then add on a battery backup system so we have even more energy independence. So we hope we've inspired you, those people who've, as Derrick put it, have been on the fence, to really consider taking action very quickly within the next month, at very longest 2 months, to be able to take advantage of NEM 2.0, but then to recognize, even if it's later, there are still tremendous advantages of having solar versus not having solar. So if you're interested in exploring that, I hope you'll reach out to Derrick Holt of Solar Energy Systems. He put his contact information up on that last slide. He is, by the way, the only solar provider who is a registered and paid up bridge affiliate of our Association of Realtors. I'm Arlene Baxter with Red Oak Realty, and it would be my pleasure to talk about the issues of sustainability and solar if you're thinking about home purchases or selling. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up and wish people a lovely evening. Thank you, Derrick.
Thank you, Arlene.